Maggie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Friedemann. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for calling in, and you have been just almost completing. You haven't completed the last assignment, but you have been almost completing the Fear and Anxiety Solution Seminar. And I wanted to ask you, how did it go?
Well, it went very well. I really enjoyed it. I did put in a lot of effort. I actually watched each video twice.
Very good.
I think that helped me because there's so much information in each one. But all in all, it went really well and I feel much better.
What were your struggles with fear and anxiety when you started with the seminar?
Well, I was an avoider. I isolated myself to the point where I rarely went out.
Hmm.
I started developing more intense OCD behaviors, like
Hmm.
keeping everything straight and flicking all the light switches the right way. I'm one that has physical manifestations
Uh-huh.
where, and mine have been digestive issues
Hmm.
and muscular tension. So those were kind of increasing in intensity. I also found that I was getting more easily overwhelmed. Like if I was in the kitchen and I splashed something on myself, I would think it was the end of the world when, it was just a little splash.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that was most difficult to deal with was my inner voice was getting more frequent, more vicious, more intense.
What did the inner voice say?
Just lots of negative things. You can't do that. You're fat. Um, don't do that. Don't, just don't do that. There's no need to do that. Just stay here.
Hmm.
Trying to
Hmm.
protect me, but holding me back.
Right. So like an inner critic,
And yes, that inner critic.
but
Definitely.
also certainly not a very gentle or kind voice inside. So that brought up more anxiety from the inside than from the outside.
Most definitely. Mostly from the inside
Hmm. And
of me.
since when did you have anxiety? Is that a long time?
Well, I think it's been building over the years, and about I've been on sort of a process for about 15 years since my father passed away of more self-growth and actualization. And but about 5 years ago I had a huge change in my beliefs, and since then my anxiety has increased. And then about
Mm.
2 years ago my dog of 15 years died, and
Hmm.
that just seemed to the grief and that loss just added to it.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to be the past 5 years getting more intense.
Hmm. So when you jumped into the fear and anxiety solution, I can imagine that brought up some anxiety as well, because
Yes.
you were not sure, can I do it? Will I succeed? I remember you sent an email about those kind of questions you had. So what did you notice as you went along these sessions?
Well, I noticed that once I realized I had an inner core belief that was very negative, that was, I am not worthy. I grew up that I was a worthless sinner and I'm not worthy. And
Hmm.
once I was able to learn through the class to change that I am worthy and valuable, that's when I really started changing and really feeling better.
Mm.
In my life, others would see it as like I would go out and someone would compliment my clothes, which rarely happens. Or I would get a call back on a job interview, which I'm going out and getting a new job.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. This is kind of another one I was thinking about. Earlier this week, I actually had some dental work done. I didn't feel worthy to spend the money to take out
Mm.
the mercury and put in a new different filling for
Hmm.
protection. And I actually went ahead and I did it.
Excellent. And you
I,
celebrated it. Not that this
yeah,
is very common that people celebrate their worthiness by going to the dentist, but in your
yeah,
case, it's absolutely appropriate. Now, you also said that people ask you for advice, which was something that you didn't really, weren't really used to.
right. I went up on a vacation. I headed north. I went to Petoskey and I was visiting a friend, and then another friend came and we had dinner, and we were going around the table talking about things, and the gals were actually sort of asking for my input and my advice, and I felt okay. I felt confident enough to speak up and to respond to them.
Great. Now, this inner voice, what happened with that?
Well, that inner voice, I learned through the sessions to counteract it. And
Mm,
so I would continually, the best of my ability, I would become aware when it was happening, and I would do the steps that you taught to counteract.
mhm,
And now today, the voice is much, much less intense. And that is something that is a huge, like, hooray. I'm
mm.
so happy.
Was part of the reason why it's less intense also because you could see the face of the voice more clearly? Who actually is that voice? It's not a monster. It's not some mean old man that just points his finger at you. Who did you find out that voice really is?
Yeah, that this voice is just my inner little Maggie that was just trying to survive, and she did the best she could, and she was actually trying to help me to keep me from being, rejected or um, feeling pain. And so, that was a huge insight for me, Friedman, when I realized that my adult beliefs are so different from what I was taught as a child.
Yeah.
And so I can actually go back and talk to that little girl, that inner protector, and I can just tell her what we know now. I can
Mhm.
comfort her with compassion. I can reassure her. And that has made a huge difference. That was an insight that was real big for me.
Mm. And so that voice feels understood. It feels listened to.
Yes. And for me, this is kind of interesting. I have a beanie baby. I have like a mama baby and then a little beanie baby. And it's in the bedroom. And now when I look at that, I think of that as a reminder for me every day to talk to my little inner
Hmm.
protector. Every day you need to keep in contact with her, just like, just to soothe her and comfort her and let her know, I got you, I've got this.
Do you enjoy it?
I really enjoy it. I enjoy doing inner work. I enjoy growing and expanding. I did not like feeling so constricted.
Hmm.
And I was just really getting frustrated with that because I know that I have such ability. And
Right.
now I just feel more expanded again.
And so, do you have a sense that you understand yourself better in general?
Yes, much better. I have a better understanding of my unconscious and how it affects me and how it's a part of me. Um, I mean, the one of the other big things was the four survival techniques
Hmm.
that we use. Well, I realize that I use a little bit of all of them. Of course, some of them, avoider and probably a pleaser, definitely pleaser.
Hmm.
And those were survival modes. And now I am switching to the thriving mode where I'm not using those old worn out techniques to live. I'm working from an empowered place versus those old scary places.
And that feels safe?
It just gives me confidence. It helps me to feel safe.
Hmm.
Definitely more courageous.
Isn't it interesting that now avoidance is not really the go-to setting for you? It's now really about no longer survival, but thriving and just having a deeper understanding about yourself and the subconscious that ultimately just wanted to protect you certainly helped you to also give you that what maybe, and I don't know about you, but maybe you never heard these messages that you're giving yourself. Maybe there wasn't really that kind of acceptance and kindness that you're now providing to that inner self. And so you're healing a wound that has been there for a long time.
Right. And I agree. I think for the past year, I became aware of having self compassion. So
Hmm.
I've been sort of working on that a little bit, like with little mini meditations. But this course just like was the cherry on the ice cream. It just helped it all to come together, and it gave me tools to actually move forward and to actually feel confident and compassionate for myself. It was really big.
And we are all clear that fear and anxiety are normal companions of our life. Now, if fear and anxiety nudges at you and tries to get your attention, what do you do now? Do you feel still so overwhelmed, or do you feel like now I have the insights and tools to respond to it?
Well, exactly right. I catch it more quickly before it escalates,
Hmm.
so I can feel it and see it and sense it more quickly. And now I definitely have the tools to deal with it. I mean, that was like especially the very last seminar, number 6.
Hmm.
You really outlined what causes them, and if I'm feeling that way, to look and see, well, what triggered me? Did I give my power away again?
Right.
Why did I leave my center? And then you get direct tools to help myself get back.
And you use those tools.
I really do.
So, what advice would you give anyone who also embarks on this journey to make the best out of it like you did?
Well, I would give the advice to say that you are so worthy and you are so valuable. And you may not realize it because you may be so busy in life, but just take the time to stop and listen and try these techniques, even though they may seem different.
Hmm.
Change is difficult, but it's so worth it in the end.
And they can do it if you
Oh,
can do
definitely.
it.
That's for sure. Yes.
Do you believe that 2 months ago you would have thought that you could be where you are now?
No, I would have been hoping I could somehow feel better, but I was in such a bottom of a pit sort of a thing, you know, kind of like I didn't realize that I was hoping. I say I had hope, and I found you, and I found these seminars, and you responded to me when I contacted you, and I had a sense in my heart that this was the right track. And
Hmm.
I'm pretty discerning, and I don't like do a lot of stuff. I just sort of try to take care of things myself. But I knew that I was on the right track with you in this program. It just felt right to me. So I went for it.
Well, you listen to your intuition, which is a part of your subconscious mind. And as
Yeah.
much as your subconscious wanted to protect you, it also wanted you to heal and grow and
Right.
soar and thrive again. So it's very, very nice that you are at the place that you are right now. And thank you so much for sharing because I know a lot of people can relate to your story, and you are giving a lot of people hope that there is a way to heal and a way to befriend and make peace with fear and anxiety. So thank you very much, and
Yeah. Thank you.
stay connected to those tools. Definitely make sure that you keep up with your inner work, and you will see that the growing just has begun. There is so much more for you to enjoy and to experience.
Yes.